Bowling for astronauts. And here's Marcia with some gymnastics. Downstairs in Atlantis. So we're saying goodbye to our crew. There's Bill Shepard, Yuri, and Sergey. We're departing. They're going to stay in space for another 5 weeks. The last girl they would see for 5 weeks, in fact. We pulled away, firing the Atlantis jet thrusters, and moved around the space station so we could see the new lab that we get installed. Here's the living quarters at the back. You see the solar panel is 240 feet across as we fly over Chile in South America. Now, as we got dressed to come home, you see Marcia squeezing up through that neck ring. It's like being born again. Get that suit back on. And you can feel the first faint traces of gravity coming back onto the spaceship as we stream along. We wanted to land here. Too rainy and cloudy, we had to go to California to Edwards Air Force Base. The wheels come down at about 400 feet above the ground, at about 300 knots coming down the glide slope. Now Ken Cockrell is flying manually, aiming for a smooth touchdown at about 200 knots. And there's the smooth touchdown. The wheels are on the concrete. Drag sheet out to help us slow down. And the cargo bay was empty. We had delivered destiny to space, and the 5 of us up front were exchanging high fives, and I was ready for a cheeseburger and a shower. A couple of highlights of that flight. Bob Kirby and I had 3 spacewalks together. He really earned his paycheck the very first spacewalk, because while he was outside activating the cooling system on the new laboratory here, one of the cooling hoses sprang a leak. A valve stuck open and began to jet ammonia coolant out into the vacuum of space, like a giant snowstorm of frozen ammonia flakes tumbling away. And we were venting the lifeblood of the cooling system overboard. And he didn't get on the radio and say, "Houston, I have a problem." He remembered the emergency procedures, and he very coolly went right up here and he shut off a valve and stopped the leak right there. And then working together, we were able to put the hose properly in place. The leak was bypassed, and we were able to restore the cooling flow. We only lost about 5% of the cooling. So Bob really was the key to success on our first spacewalk. So we were outside 3 times during the mission. Here you see me holding on to the Unity module on the station. And note my backpack there. It carries 8 hours of oxygen, 8 hours of battery power for the radio and the fan that circulates the oxygen, and it has 8 hours of cooling water to keep the suit cool. And also at the bottom right corner, you see this little series of ports. That's a little mini jetpack attached to the bottom of the spacesuit. If your tether's all broke and you let go of the space station and drifted away, even though I promised my mother I never would, if I drifted away, I could pull out a little joystick from that jetpack and fly back slowly to the space station and rescue myself. Who saw the movie Gravity? Raise your hand. Oh, lots more people have seen the space station. And the space station you can see for free. Not for $13 or something. Now, if Sandra Bullock had had our little jetpack on her spacesuit, she would have flown right back into the arms of George Clooney, and the movie would have been over in 10 minutes. So, wonderful moments to be outside on those 19 hours of spacewalks. The best moment of all was when I was hanging on right here at the front of the space station, near the end of my last spacewalk. And I was looking out, and I was sort of perched with my hand on the handrail. I could look around and see 1,000 miles out to the horizon, down past my feet, 220 miles down to the ocean below. And that golden solar panel up above my head reminded me of the sails of a silent windjammer as we fell around the planet every 90 minutes. And it was such a lovely experience. Tears came to my eyes. It was a gift from God to have that privilege of being outside. I felt very gifted that I had that privilege to see the universe like that, but I also felt very small when you realize how vast the universe is. I think that was the peak emotional moment of all the time I spent in space. Back inside, there's our brand new spanking lab, and we're zooming down the aisles of the Destiny Laboratory, as you saw in the movie. That's the way it looked when we left it. Here's how it looks today. There's Karen Nyberg, who was up on the station last year, and she's working with the Robonaut 2, the astronaut assistant up there that's being tested. Look at all the computers and cameras and environmental gear, and there's even the controls for the robot arm inside this nerve center of the space station.